and welcome to another BuyBotPro video. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about the future of shoe reselling on Amazon. Now this video is mostly for you if you sell in the US Amazon marketplace. The reason why I say that is because a lot of what I'm going to talk about mostly affects you in the US marketplace. These changes haven't necessarily gone to other marketplaces yet. They might never happen. They might happen soon. I don't know. But as I say, this mostly affects you in the US. However, if you are selling in other marketplaces and you're thinking, oh, okay, well, this doesn't affect me, it may do at some point. You just want to be prepared just in case something like this happens. So please feel free to watch along, even if you don't sell in the US. Now, you're looking at this message right here. And to be fair, if you've just been reading along whilst listening to me, you probably know exactly what it is I'm about to talk about in this video. But let's talk about shoe reselling first. Now, what is it? I mean, it clues in the name. You're reselling shoes. Now, some people do this exclusively, as in they just focus on shoes. Sure, they might sell a couple of other little bits, but shoes are their bread and butter. The reason being, you can find discounted new shoes in loads of places, and lots of brands like Nike, which is what we're going to talk about in a moment, have things like factory outlets where you can get like special lines of shoes or limited lines or unique sizing and things like that of certain styles and so forth. You can find all manner of things in factory outlets. It's kind of like it's just kind of cool when you go into these places because you see things that you wouldn't typically see in like your standard sports store that just sells the same range of Nike shoes that lots of other stores sell. So that's the reason why shoe reselling is kind of its own thing, and there's plenty of sellers out there that have adopted that as the bread and butter of their business. Even if you're not specifically a shoe reseller, you may have a portion of your inventory that is shoes. Okay, makes perfect sense. If you can flip it for profit, why not? Shoes can be one of those things. Now, let's have a look at this message right here. So you may have already had this message if you are selling Nike on Amazon. It doesn't matter if you're not selling shoes. Anything Nike could potentially be at risk here. And to be fair, if you are just selling it in general, Amazon will just send this to you anyway, just to make you aware of what's going on. So it says, we're writing to let you know that we will be working directly with Nike to source a number of their products moving forward. By working directly with Nike to source their products, we're able to blah, 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 blah. Let's move on. As part of this change, you will no longer be able to sell certain Nike products on Amazon in the US. The full list can be found in a table below. So anything that you can't sell, they will literally list out for you. We understand that the changes might have an impact on your business and require time to adjust. So because of that, they have set a deadline of July the 19th, 2025 to sell your existing inventory. So let's break this message down a little bit more after we have a look at another message that was sent a month or two back. So we had something like this before in the US with Vans products. Now, this message says only a subset of Vans selection is currently available in the Amazon store, which sometimes leads to poor experience for a customer searching for Vans products. Some of the same stuff here is said again. As part of the change, you will no longer be able to list Vans products in the Amazon store. Okay, and now this deadline has already come and gone, I believe. So this the deadline for this was maybe a week or two ago off the top of my head. But the wording here is different to the Nike message that we've had recently. So some of the key differences is the fact that, I mean, some of these key differences basically result in the same thing. But notice how they say that it's a number of their products. You won't be able to sell certain Nike products on Amazon in the US. Now, compare that to the message here. So it's different in the first paragraph, and basically say that you will no longer be able to list Vans products. Full stop. It's not a number of Vans products, it's not certain Vans products, it is just Vans products, full stop. That isn't where they've missed some wording, that is just Vans products, full stop, that you can't sell anymore in the US Amazon marketplace. Now with Nike, that isn't the same case. It is certain Nike products, and that's why they've also provided a list as well, because it isn't everything. And from all that I'm led to believe, shoes is going to be massively affected by this. It won't just be shoes, of course, because Nike is obviously more than just shoes, but obviously shoes being their bread and butter, that's the one that you're going to be concerned about when you see things like this. So yes, shoes will probably be heavily impacted from everything that I've read about this, from everything that I've understood about it. Just keep an eye out on that list. And when you get things like this, it doesn't matter which one you get, any affected products, whether it's everything, whether it's some things, you need to make sure that you have sold that product before the deadline, or recall it from Amazon. Now, if you're wondering about what exactly to do right now, just focus on selling the affected products as best as you can. If you're using a repricing tool like Profit Protector Pro, use an aggressive repricing strategy. Maybe consider lowering your minimum a bit more to try and prompt a sale and win the buy box. You just want to be aggressive with pursuing that buy box. You want to get that buy box. You want to be making sales and just clearing out the affected stock. And I would say, to be honest, if you get to the start of July and you're finding that you still have quite, you still have quite a bit left, and you don't feel like you are going to sell it relatively quickly, it might then be a good idea at the start of July to just recall your inventory and then just get rid of it on eBay or another platform. It just has to be off of Amazon. Now, part of the reason why I feel like this sort of thing is happening is because Nike sales profits, they have been on the decline, more so over the past 12 months. It has just sort of like gone down and down, and there's numerous sources to support that. Yeah, it's not looking good for Nike at the minute. That could pick up, and therefore things might change. I'm not saying that that's the sole reason why this is happening, but to me, it kind of makes sense as to why. And hopefully this helps Nike pick stuff back up. But I mean, that just goes to show you that you as an Amazon seller, and you feel like, oh, I hit some bumps in the road. Like, these big companies hit bumps as well. Like, who would have ever thought that about a company as big as Nike? But hey, it's happening. Let's not go down that rabbit hole as to why. We just know that it is happening. Okay, so those are some things that you can do. Those are some of the positive things that you can take away from it, that it isn't all products. It is some. It's not the entirety of Nike. So, we can still sell a number of Nike products. And this is why it's really important to do analysis and reanalysis, because let's say you haven't read this message or you've not seen this video, just because something's been selling well for a time doesn't mean it always will. We know stuff changes. We know that, brands can just say, no, I don't want anyone to resell this. And they might then open back up for a time and then close. And, that's why it's important to reanalyze every single time and not just, rely on, oh yeah, it'll be fine. Because this is your business we're talking about. So that's why it's important to always check these things whenever you go to do a replenishment. It's just good practice, because if you didn't read this, you wouldn't know, and you would just keep reselling stuff that you might then no longer be able to keep selling, and then you hit the deadline date, and then it's sort of like a massive shock, and then you've got a load of stuff that's up in the air, and it's just a massive problem. So always reanalyze. For shoe reselling, could more things like this happen down the line? Possibly. Be extra vigilant when it comes to these sorts of sports and shoe brands, because it seems to be kind of like one after the other so far this year, where we've had messages like this one. So just be extra wary, be careful, and if you are selling Nike stuff, the best of luck to you with getting sold up before July the 19th. Thank you for watching.